I couldn't believe how easy it had all been. $80 million sitting in offshore accounts, nobody the wiser. Are you sure the briefcases are ready? I asked, pacing the penthouse like a man possessed. Marco, my assistant and my oldest friend in this chaos, nodded nervously. Yeah, everything's packed. The plane's fueled, the pilot's ready. His voice trailed off. Just what? I snapped. You've done this 1,000 times. Don't second guess me now, he swallowed hard. I just hope she doesn't what? I cut him off. My overconfidence surged. Eleanor, my wife. She could try all she wanted, but no one would stop me. Not even her. Marco hesitated. Nothing. Forget I said anything. I grabbed the last of the cash-stuffed briefcases. The leather felt cool under my palms, reassuring. I glanced at the skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows. My city, my empire, my rules. Ready to make history? I asked, grinning. Marco gave a weak smile. History or trouble? Maybe both. Come on, Marco. Trust me. Nobody's smarter than me. Nobody. The elevator dinged, and I expected the quiet hum of the lobby below. Instead, Eleanor stepped out from the shadows, her heels clicking against the marble. Calm. Unshakable. Always that unnerving calm. You're leaving? She asked, tilting her head. Her voice was soft, but I could feel the sharp edge beneath it. I froze for a split second before smirking. You could say that, but it's nothing personal. You just don't need to know the details. She raised an eyebrow. I think I'd like to know, actually. Care to share? I laughed again, too loud this time. Eleanor, don't act like you care about numbers you'd never understand. This is grown-up stuff. Her eyes never left mine. Numbers don't interest me. Patterns do. And patterns tell me someone is hiding something. Marco shifted uneasily beside me. I wanted to shove him forward, distract her, anything. But Eleanor wasn't just anyone. I don't know what you're talking about, I said, forcing casualness. She smiled, almost imperceptibly. That's fine. I enjoy the chase anyway. I swallowed, irritated by the thrill I wasn't in control of. The plane's ready? If you're done pretending, we're leaving. Instead, she stepped closer. I always notice the small things, the tiny slips. Your favorite pen isn't on the desk. The safe's empty and Marco here looks guilty. I laughed again, but it sounded hollow even to me. You think you've got me figured out? That's cute. Her voice softened. Cute isn't dangerous, but desperate is, and desperation is obvious on you. I felt my confidence faltering. Just a flicker. You're paranoid. Always thinking the world revolves around you. Her smile widened, calm but knowing. Paranoid is surviving? Let's see how far your confidence gets you. I grabbed the briefcases. Marco cleared his throat, nudging me forward. Wes Hall'd go. I nodded, pretending control. Yeah, let's go. I pressed the button for the elevator, heart hammering like a drum in my chest. Outside, the night waited, promising freedom, adventure, escape. I imagined the wind in my face, the plane roaring into the sky, the city disappearing beneath us. But Eleanor's gaze lingered longer than it should. Sharp, unyielding, calculating somehow. I knew she wasn't done. The doors slid open, and I stepped out. Each step, heavy with the adrenaline of the heist. I whispered to myself, no one can stop me. But deep down, just beneath the cocky grin, I wondered maybe someone already had. I should have felt the thrill of freedom. But something in the pit of my stomach was twisting. The jet wasn't ready. The pilot said there was a minor technical delay. But my instincts screamed otherwise. Marco, I hissed, pacing the hangar. Why the hell is it taking so long? He swallowed hard, shifting his weight. I don't know. I called them earlier. They said everything was fine. I slammed my fist against the wall. Everything's never fine when I'm supposed to be gone in 10 minutes. He flinched. Maybe it's just bad timing. Planes. You know mechanical stuff happens. I stared at him, trying to read his expression. Something was off. Bad timing? I muttered. Or Eleanor. He opened his mouth, then shut it quickly. I don't know what you mean. You've noticed the emails, haven't you? I said sharply. The ones I thought she wouldn't check? Marco's eyes widened. Maybe, but I deleted the sensitive ones. I shook my head. She always notices the patterns, Marco. The pens I use, the cameras in the lobby. I thought I was careful. I thought I was untouchable. Marco swallowed again. You still are, I mean. She can't what? I snapped, heart hammering. You think I can outrun her? He looked away. Maybe we need to slow down. I ran a hand through my hair. Slow down? We've waited months for this. Months. A voice behind us cut through my panic. You're right. Patience is overrated. I spun around. SecurityChief.com and Professional stood at the hangar door, his arms crossed. Mr. Dalton, we've noticed unusual activity on the cameras. Nothing illegal yet, but we've tightened the protocols. Just standard procedure. I froze, adrenaline spiking. Tightened protocols? Who authorized Eleanor did, he said, expression neutral. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to yell. Instead, my throat went dry. Eleanor, of course. Every step, every slip, she had accounted for. Marco whispered. I tried to warn you, I snapped at him. You didn't try hard enough? He flinched, eyes darting to the hangar doors. Lisa's waiting in the car. I think she's worried. I groaned. Great, she's going to think we're abandoning her life for some stupid fantasy. Not stupid, Marco said quietly. Just risky. I clenched my fists. Risky is exactly why we're doing it. But deep down, panic clawed at me. Every step felt watched. Every breath felt monitored. Eleanor wasn't just my wife, she was a predator in plain sight. And I was the fool thinking I could slip away unnoticed. I crouched beside the briefcases, scanning the hangar. Marco, can you hack the security override? Just temporarily? He hesitated. I could try. But if she notices, I don't care if she notices. Just do it. He nodded reluctantly, fingers trembling over the tablet. Okay, I'm in. Good, I said, trying to steady my voice. Remember, we're professionals. Keep calm. One wrong move, and it's over. Over already, he muttered under his breath. I ignored him. My thoughts raced. Hidden cameras, her emails, the subtle notes she left in my schedule. Even the way she made the pilot hesitate, every detail was hers. I realized almost too late that my arrogance had blinded me. My marriage wasn't a weakness I thought it was, but it was a trap. The intercom buzzed. Mr. Dalton, the jet will be ready in 15 minutes. All systems green. I froze, heart in my throat. 15 minutes. That's a lifetime. Marco looked at me wide-eyed. We can still make it, maybe. I nodded, though my confidence was cracking. We'll try. But this time we move differently. Quiet, careful, and pray she doesn't anticipate our next step. Do you really think she'd let us leave? Marco asked, voice barely a whisper. I swallowed hard, gripping the edge of the briefcase. I don't know, I admitted. And that scares me more than anything else. The hangar felt smaller now, the shadows deeper. Eleanor's presence lingered everywhere, unseen but tangible. I realized that escaping her was no longer just about money or planes. It was about outsmarting the one person who had always been my equiland, maybe, finally, my superior. I didn't hear Eleanor and Try was too busy pacing, rehearsing my escape plan, pretending I still had control. Then her voice cut through the silence, calm and deliberate. You really thought you could get away? I froze mid-step, heart hammering. Eleanor, what are you doing here? She didn't smile. Observing, waiting, and finally confronting. I laughed nervously. Confronting. You're joking, right? No joke, she said, stepping closer. Her heels clicked on the marble floor, precise and measured. Weeks, I've been watching every move you made. Every email you deleted, every briefcase packed, every lie you told Marco. I swallowed hard. Weeks? How did you? Naomi helped, she said smoothly. nodding toward the corner where her assistant peeked out, eyes wide but steady. She monitored the schedules, the cameras, everything. Don't look so surprised. You underestimated me. I didn't underestimate you. I shot back, though my voice sounded smaller than I expected. I didn't think that your arrogance would blind you, Eleanor finished for me. I saw the patterns. Your pride. Your greed. Every step you took was predictable. I wanted to argue, to claim control, but the words stuck in my throat. She was right. Every move I'd made, every assumption that I was untouchable, had been visible to her. I gritted my teeth. You could have stopped me earlier. Why wait? She tilted her head, calm and deliberate. Because I wanted to see the man behind the greed. The one who thinks money can solve everything. The one who doesn't see the consequences until it's too late. I laughed bitterly. You make it sound like some game, as she said softly. And you just lost. I felt my chest tighten, humiliation washing over me. Lost? You think this is over? Eleanor shook her head. It isn't about over. It's about understanding. And you need to understand yourself. You've been careless, arrogant, and blind. Blind. I'm not blind. I shouted. I'm smart. I've planned everything. Everything. And yet, she said, voice calm as ever, you forgot one thing. I know you better than you know yourself. My hands trembled. So what now? You call the police? Turn me in. She leaned slightly closer, whispering, you can surrender. Or you can risk everything in a desperate escape. I froze. My mind raced. The penthouse felt smaller, tighter. The windows showed the city below, but I couldn't think about running. Not yet. Not while every instinct told me she had already predicted my moves. Trying to leave now? Eleanor asked, almost mockingly. Do you even realize the security system has already locked down every exit? Every elevator? Every stairwell? Nothing moves without me knowing. I took a step back, panic rising. You set this up? Of course, she said. Why else would you think you're in control? Marco helped you, yes. But all your allies are pieces on my board now? I swallowed hard. You make it sound so easy. She said softly, almost fondly. When you underestimate the person standing next to you, everything becomes simple. I clenched my fists, anger mixing with awe. I can still fix this. You can't fix arrogance, she interrupted, shaking her head. You can only survive it, or surrender to it. I glanced at Naomi again, realizing how deeply Eleanor had structured this. Every camera, every schedule, every move had been accounted for. No escape, no loophole. I took a deep breath, my mind screaming to flee, to fight, to reclaim my freedom. But the weight of reality pressed down. For the first time in my life, I felt trapped, physically, mentally, emotionally. Eleanor's calm gaze held me in place, a silent challenge. Decision time, she said. Surrender, or risk losing everything you thought was yours. I hesitated, my chest tight, mind racing. My pride wanted to fight. My logic screamed surrender. But instinct whispered one thing. Survival was only possible if I acknowledged how wrong I'd been. I whispered, almost to myself. Maybe I underestimated you. Her lips curved in a small, knowing smile. Maybe you did. But recognizing it now, it's a start. The first knock on the penthouse door rattled me more than I expected. I froze, heart hammering. Marco, tell me that's not who I think it is, I whispered. Marco swallowed, voice tight. They're here. The lawyers and Detective Harris? I laughed, bitter and sharp. Great. Just what I needed. My empire crumbling around me while I'm still holding briefcases full of dreams. The door swung open. Mr. Dalton, Detective Harris said, calm but precise. We need to talk, I forced a grin. Talk. You came all the way up here just to talk. Eleanor stepped forward, arms crossed, serene as ever. I think he's confused, Detective. He still believes he's in control. I glared at her. Control? You think this changes anything? I planned for every contingency. She tilted her head. Every contingency except underestimating me, apparently. A lawyer stepped forward, holding folders thick with documents. These are your records, Mr. Dalton. Every transfer, every falsified account, everything. We have evidence of your planned embezzlement. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I swallowed hard. Planned. I whispered almost to myself. So you knew all this time? Eleanor's eyes held mine, calm and unshakable. I suspected, yes. But now it's confirmed. And everyone else will know too. My knees threatened to buckle. Marco, you didn't tell me she could actually do this. Marco shook his head, guilt in his eyes. I didn't think she would. I thought you'd get away. I felt rage bubble, but it mixed with shame. Get away? I've been walking blind for months, thinking I was untouchable, thinking my empire was mine. And now, everything's falling apart. Detective Harris cleared his throat. You understand the gravity of this, Mr. Dalton? The company's board is here, and they're not sympathetic. I turned to the board members. Their faces were polite, neutral, but their eyes were sharp, predatory. I can fix this, I said quickly. I just need time. A chance to explain. You had time, Eleanor interrupted. Time to stop yourself before you buried us all. Bitch. I ran a hand through my hair. I was careful. I thought I could control it. I thought I was smarter than everyone. Smarter? One of the board members asked, voice dripping with skepticism. You hid behind numbers, Mr. Dalton. But it wasn't intelligence. It was arrogance. I bit my lip, humiliation tightening like a vice. I didn't see it coming. I underestimated people. Everyone. And yet you still thought you were untouchable, Eleanor said softly. That's the real tragedy here. Not the money. Not the risk. Your ego? I swallowed, chest tightening. I trusted the wrong people, Marco. Colleagues, everyone I thought was loyal. Maybe they'll turn on me now. Marco looked down, voice barely audible. I'm still with you. I tried. I nodded, but even his loyalty felt fragile now. I don't know who I can trust anymore. Not really. Detective Harris stepped closer. You can start by being honest. Tell us everything, or this collapse will only get worse. I felt my world shrink. Every decision, every greed-fueled step had led here. I imagined my empire crumbling piece by piece, all the control I thought I had slipping through my fingers. And Eleanor, she wasn't just an obstacle. She was a force I could never match. Brilliant, calm, inevitable. I sank into the nearest chair, voice shaking. I thought I could do it all. Beat everyone. Beat her. But I can't. I see that now. I miscalculated. Every step, every person I relied on, he miscalculated. Eleanor's gaze softened, just slightly. Admitting it is the first step. Understanding your mistakes is the second. Everything else comes after. I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of my arrogance crushing me. Every ally I thought I had, every plan I thought was foolproof, was unraveling. And for the first time, I understood just how small I really was, how fragile my empire had been all along. Fine, I whispered, voice raw. I'll start talking. Tell me what now? I sat alone in the empty conference room, the city lights casting long shadows across the polished floor. Silence pressed against me, heavier than any fear I'd felt before. I thought about my mistakes, every arrogant step, every betrayal, every person I'd underestimated. Marco knocked softly at the door. You okay? I shook my head. No, Marco, I'm not okay. I've been running blind. Thinking I was untouchable, thinking I could outsmart everyone. He nodded, not judging. But you're still here. Still thinking? I rubbed my face. Exactly. I need to stop reacting and start adapting. Blind anger and pride won't get me anywhere. You mean you're thinking about helping her? I smirked, bitter. Not helping her. Helping the company, helping the system I nearly destroyed. Survival, redemptio, call it what you want, but it's not revenge this time. It's strategy. Marco frowned. Strategy. Sounds risky. Shrugged. Everything I've done is risky. But this has to work. I can't go down like a fool. Victor, the finance officer, arrived moments later, briefcase in hand. Mr. Dalton, I heard about the irregularities. The company's in trouble. But maybe we can prevent a collapse if we act fast. I looked at him sharply. And you think I can fix it? Victor shrugged. You know the system better than anyone. You're not just the problem, you could be the solution. I laughed, dry and hollow. That's exactly what got me into this mess. Arrogance. Victor didn't flinch. Then let's temper it with focus. Time is ticking. I leaned back in my chair, thinking aloud. Eleanor, she's not my enemy. Not really. She's brilliant. Careful, she saw every flaw, every risk, every lie. I underestimated her because I thought she'd just follow my lead. I was wrong. Marco shifted nervously. So you're actually admitting she's smarter than you? I didn't answer immediately. Smarter in planning? Yes. But intelligence isn't static. Strategy? That's different. That I can still apply. If I'm careful, precise, she might actually see I'm not useless. Victor opened his briefcase. I've mapped the financial gaps. We can patch them, but it requires precise timing and your trust in me, not in old patterns. I nodded slowly. Okay, step 1, patch the gaps. Prevent the disaster. Step 2, show Eleanor I can change, not just survive. And if she still doesn't forgive you? I laughed, low and bitter. Forgiveness isn't the goal. Adaptation is survival, redemption, showing I can act responsibly without arrogance clouding every move. Victor handed me a folder. Everything you need. Numbers, schedules, timelines. If you follow this exactly, we avert the worst-case scenario. Took it, feeling a strange thrill. Control was shifting, but differently now. Not arrogance, not ego. Precision, awareness, respect for the challenges. For Eleanor's foresight, for my own limitations. I leaned back, staring at the documents. All right, let's begin. Step by step. We fix what I broke. And maybe I prove I'm not just a fool with money and ambition. Marco glanced at me, cautious. You really believe this works? I nodded. I have to. Because if it doesn't, it's over. This time, I won't have arrogance to save me, Victor added. Quietly but firmly, she'll notice your effort. Not every mistake can be undone, but actions speak louder than excuses. I exhaled, feeling a weight lift slightly. Actions, not excuses. That's the key. Eleanor isn't my enemy. She's the challenge. And challenges are meant to be met, not fought blindly. Marco shook his head in awe. I didn't think you'd ever say that. I smirked faintly, feeling the beginnings of clarity. Neither did I, but facing collapse, sometimes the only way forward, is to accept reality. Adapt, think, plan, act. Not fight, not hide. Victor tapped the table. Then let's move. We have work to do, and the company won't wait. I nodded again, determination rising. All right, let's fix this. Step 1, step 2, and maybe, by the end, I prove I'm more than my arrogance. For the first time in weeks, I felt control. Not reckless, not overconfident, but deliberate. I still had a chance. A real one. I leaned back in my office chair, staring at the screens in front of me. Every graph, every email, every report was a thread I could pull to expose the web of corruption hidden in plain sight. Months ago, I would have used this knowledge for my own gain. Now, I wanted justice, not chaos. Marco, have you double-checked the Thompson files? I asked, tapping the keyboard. He swallowed, eyes wide. I think so. But if they notice what you're doing, they will, I interrupted. But not because I'm reckless. Because I'm smarter. And because karma has its way of balancing things out. Karma, huh? You really believe in that now? I smirked, shaking my head. I didn't used to. I thought power was everything. Money, control, arrogance. But watching Eleanor dismantle me calmly, without a scream or a yell that changed me, strategy beats ego every time. He nodded slowly. Okay, I'll follow your lead. I pulled up a spreadsheet highlighting irregular transactions. See this? Multiple transfers, hidden accounts, shady partnerships. People thought I was gone. They thought they could benefit from my downfall. Not anymore. Eleanor's voice pinged through a secure chat. Careful, let them think they're safe. Watch their reactions. I typed back. Already working. Karma's quiet but precise. Marco glanced at me, conflicted. I feel guilty, you know? For blindly helping you? For not questioning everything. I leaned forward. Marco, guilt is a lesson. Loyalty without thought is dangerous. You learned that. And now, you can act wisely. Exhaled. Relief mingling with shame. Yeah, I want to do better. I smiled faintly. Good. We all get chances to do better. But this isn't about us. It's about them people who exploited greed over integrity. I opened an email from Eleanor. The board members will be in tomorrow. Ensure evidence is concrete. No mistakes, I typed back. Already prepared. They won't see it coming. The next day, the boardroom buzzed with tension. Rival executives who had whispered behind my back, laughed at my potential downfall, now sat uneasily, sipping coffee and checking their devices. Mr. Dalton once sneered. We weren't expecting you to be involved again so soon. I smiled calmly. Expectations are dangerous, aren't they? Especially when based on assumptions. Another board member cleared his throat. We have concerns about the missing funds. I leaned in, tapping a tablet. Concerns. Funny, because here are the detailed audits showing every misappropriation, every hidden account. Names, dates, transfers, everything. Their faces went pale. Whispers turned to gasps. I glanced at Marco. See? Karma works quietly, but it works. He nodded, eyes wide, relief washing over him. I can't believe this. Eleanor's email pinged again. Well done. Ethical, precise, undeniable. I'll step in if needed, but you've mastered it. I exhaled, feeling a rush of triumph tempered with humility. Even she's impressed, I muttered. Though her approval always carried weight, one of the minor antagonists stammered, You have proof? Proof, I repeated, voice steady. In action. Those who tried to exploit my downfall are accountable. No illegalities on my part. No shortcuts. Just ethics and foresight. I leaned back, letting the tension ease slightly. Funny, I thought revenge was about chaos, destruction, but it's not. Karma doesn't need my interference, it needs patience and timing. Marco rubbed his hands together. I think I understand now. Loyalty, yes, but not blind loyalty. We act with awareness, with morality. That's real power, I nodded slowly. Exactly. And that's what you missed before. That's what I almost lost sight of, too. I took a deep breath, thinking about the months of arrogance, betrayal, and near collapse. Eleanor, she's fair, precise, brilliant. She didn't seek revenge. She didn't humiliate me for ego's sake. She challenged me to see my flaws. And now I understand. Marco smiled faintly. I'm glad you see it that way. And I'm glad to be on the right side this time. Typed a quick response to Eleanor. Lesson learned. Thanks for the guidance. I won't squander it. Her reply. See the bigger picture? Always. I closed the email, leaning back and watching the rivals squirm as their misdeeds surfaced. Triumph mixed with lingering guilt, the guilt for every arrogant, selfish step I had taken, for every person I had misled. But it was tempered now by growth, understanding, the satisfaction of doing things ethically. Marco, I said quietly, help me finalize these reports. Every detail, every name. Let them see that actions have consequences without breaking the law, without dishonesty. He nodded. On it, I stared out the window, city lights reflecting my contemplation. Karma doesn't need a rush. It only needs truth, and truth always finds a way. For the first time in months, I felt calm. Powerful, yes, but tempered. Ethical, triumphant, but not arrogant. And, most importantly, aware. The boardroom would remember this day not because I sought revenge, because I understood the power of patience, ethics, and intelligence. In Eleanor, she remained the measure against which I would always judge myself. I stood in the penthouse office, the city sprawling beneath me like a river of lights. And for the first time in months, I felt clarity instead of chaos. Every challenge, every misstep, every betrayal had led me here. Not to a pile of stolen money, not to reckless revenge, but to a place where control meant strategy, integrity, and awareness. Everything looks in order, Victor said, leaning against the edge of my desk. The financial gaps are patched, the audits are clean. The board has seen the truth. The company is stable. I nodded slowly, exhaling. Stable, yes, but not because I bulldozed my way through it. Because I chose patience, precision ethics. It's strange, isn't it? Doing the right thing can feel like the harder choice. Marco, standing beside him, cleared his throat. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm proud to have followed you this time. I finally understand what real loyalty means. I looked at him and smiled faintly. It's more than loyalty. It's awareness. It's knowing when to act, when to step back, when to observe. And you did that well, Marco, even if it came with a bit of guilt. He winced. Yeah, that guilt was heavy, but it taught me something I needed to learn. And seeing you grow, I guess it makes sense now. I rubbed my hands over my face. Growth. That's what this whole journey has been about. I thought I was untouchable, invincible. I thought I could take shortcuts, outsmart everyone, including Eleanor. But I was wrong. And she? Victor asked quietly. I glanced at Eleanor, standing near the window, calm, composed, and radiant with that unmistakable intelligence. She didn't smile or scold. She just observed, and I realized she never wanted me broken. She wanted me aware, alive, capable. I walked toward her slowly. Eleanor, She raised a hand. Don't speak yet. Just acknowledge. Acknowledge the lessons, the strategy, the awareness. That's enough for now. I paused, breathing deep. I acknowledge it. Every mistake, every arrogance-fueled step, every blind moment, I see them all. She tilted her head as if weighing my words. Then she nodded slightly. Good. That's all anyone can ask. Not perfection. Just awareness and action. I swallowed hard. I understand now. Greed doesn't define me. Arrogance doesn't define me. Survival and strategy and respect for intelligence, those define me. Eleanor's assistant, Naomi, stepped forward. The board approved your measures. They recognized the ethical restoration and the regained stability. You've done more than survive. You've transformed the system. I turned to Marco, and you've learned to act with awareness, to question loyalty, to see the full picture. Marco nodded. Yes, I feel like a different person. And seeing you adapt, it gave me hope. That redemption isn't just for one person. It's for everyone willing to act responsibly. Victor chuckled softly. And Detective Harris? Did you ever think you'd see the day when everyone was held accountable, yet no laws were broken? I smiled faintly. Accountability without chaos. Precision without revenge. Karma without malice. That's the new definition of power, isn't it? Victor nodded. Exactly. And it suits you better than blind ambition ever did. I exhaled, looking out at the city again. The wind brushed against the glass, cold and clean. I imagined losing it all countless times. Wealth, control, friends, respect, even my life. But losing it all taught me what it truly means to survive, to adapt, to respect intelligence in others and yourself. Eleanor approached quietly. Do you feel victorious? I considered that, letting the words roll in my mind. not in the way I thought I would. Victory used to be money, power, dominance. Now victory is understanding, awareness, strategy. It's knowing I could have lost everything but didn't, because I learned, I adapted, I faced reality. She smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly. And you've earned it. Not because you outsmarted me or anyone else, but because you finally outsmarted your own ego. I laughed softly. The hardest adversary of all. And I didn't just survive ego, I transformed it. Marco spoke up, voice reflective. And I guess seeing you change, seeing you take responsibility, it makes me want to be better too. Smarter, more aware, more ethical. I placed a hand on his shoulder. You already are, Marco. The lessons are what matter, not the past mistakes. Victor adjusted his glasses. And Naomi? She kept everything organized, made sure nothing slipped through the cracks. I nodded. She was crucial. Every person here contributed, not blindly, not recklessly, but with awareness, intelligence, precision. That's what makes us strong. Eleanor finally faced me fully. And now? I smiled, feeling an unexpected peace. Now I look forward. No shortcuts, no arrogance, no blind trust. Just awareness, strategy, ethics, and respect. That's my new destiny, and it's mine to shape responsibly. She nodded, and for the first time, I felt a mutual respect, not rivalry, not tension, just acknowledgement of intelligence, strength, and understanding. Then shape it wisely, she said. I walked to the window, placing my hands on the glass. The city stretched endlessly before me, possibilities stretching farther than I had ever imagined. I imagined the life I could have lost destroyed by greed, ego, and overconfidence. And I imagined the life I had earned through awareness, strategy, humility, and resilience. I whispered, almost to myself, this is what it means to survive. Not just to exist, but to transform, to rise, to endure ethically, intelligently, fully. Marco came to stand beside me. You really changed, didn't you? I nodded, a faint smile forming. I did. And it's not over, not ever. Growth, awareness, that's continuous. But today I am victorious. Not over anyone, but over my own ego, my mistakes, my greed. And that is worth everything. Eleanor's gaze lingered on me, approving, unwavering. Then go forward. You know what to do and how to do it. Your new destiny, embrace it. I exhaled, letting the city's lights and the quiet victory wash over me. I felt alive, not because I had wealth or power, but because I had survived, transformed, and reclaimed my life the right way. And in that moment, looking out over the skyline, I realized the true lesson of all of it. Trust wisely, act ethically, respect intelligence, and never underestimate the power of change. I turned slightly, smiling faintly at Eleanor. At Marco, at Victor, at Naomi, we did it. Not through greed, not through deception, but through clarity, awareness, and strategy. And that is a life worth living. The city lights flickered below, mirroring the reflection in my mind. Lessons learned, battles survived, and a destiny earned through perseverance, insight, and humility.